Okay, let's say these are two systems. Okay, so this is one application. Okay, it has three layers: this one, and this one. This is the other application. It has three layers: GUI, business logic, and database. Okay, now what happens is this system has to send the data to this other system. First question is, why would there be a need? Okay, we will understand it from a business aspect. We are business analyst. We don't have to think in terms of technicalities too much, how it goes, but why it goes, whether it is feasible, is what our domain is. So let's say a customer places an order at Dell website. Okay, basically when a customer is using Dell website, he's placing an order in a system. That website is basically an application. You are here as a customer, right here. This is a GUI layer. You're right here using this layer. The data goes from when you send it, when you press submit, it goes from here to here and gets stored here. Now if the data is stored here, okay, you get the message that the order has been submitted. Well, that's very good, but the point is, this is where this is the system used by the Dell warehouse. Some guy sitting here, he's working on this application, and he is the one who needs to receive a notification that it's one customer has ordered a laptop which he has to ship. Okay, so that he will look at the various aspects of the laptop that you order. He'll get the same laptop from the warehouse, put your shipping details which you would have entered here, and he will put that shipping label on it, and he will send out the laptop. Okay, this is the basic funda about fundamental aspect of the integration. Why integration is required? Because different departments within the company are not using the same application. They are using separate applications. Typically, just guess how many applications are used in Yahoo? 1,000, at least 1,000 applications. If you go to a company called as Blue Cross Blue Shield, for that matter, if you go to any company, they will be using at least 200 to 300 applications. Now, this is at least if it is just a US-based company. If it is a global company, the number reaches up to 1,000. So IBM Inc., which is a very big company, they make applications for others, but they also use applications to do their work, right? Yes, they are using at least 1,000 applications to do their work, right? So what is the reason behind all these applications and so on and so forth? Well, it's a huge story. We'll get into that. But these applications need to talk oftentimes. For example, in this case, order is submitted in one application, order is executed or fulfilled using another application, right? So data would need to be transferred from this application to this one. Okay, so this is the basic idea behind the business need behind integration. Now the question arises, real time and batch. What are these? This data can be sent in two fashions. One is customers are submitting the orders every minute. There are like maybe 20 orders on their website. I think in a day they have maybe thousands of orders, let's say 10,000. They have two choices. One is every time an order is submitted, immediately through this layer, data goes to the order fulfillment system, the backend system, the order fulfillment system that which is used in the warehouse. Second choice is system stores. This Sibyl system, this Sibyl, it stores the order here. It keeps accumulating the orders. It does not send it anywhere. Just keep it. In the night, after all the orders have come, it sends it in one shot to this order fulfillment. The question to you, so the things to think about, the things to think at this point are whether that's batch means accumulating it and sending it at once. Real time means sending it at once. Just as the order is submitted, immediately it is sent to the other system. Okay. Question arises, which is a very important question for a business analyst to ask and understand. Why would a real-time batch be useful? Why would a batch be real-time integration? Why would a real-time integration be more useful? Or what are the various disadvantages and disadvantages of real-time versus batch? That's what the question is, right? So advantage of batch is it is very cheap. It has less maintenance work. Advantage of real-time, it is instant. But disadvantage of EIM is, or the batch interface is, it's not real-time. It is after a delay. The way it hits the business is, let's say customer submit the order and they place an overnight order. Right? That means if they submitted an order at 3 o'clock, they need to get it by 10 o'clock tomorrow. If the order fulfillment guy is getting the notification at 11 o'clock in the night, can he fulfill it? No. He needs it immediately. Right? So real time, advantage of real time is it is real time. It provides a huge functionality in the American workplace, in the American economy, that real time means quick service. But problem is it's extremely expensive in terms of development and in terms of maintenance. These guys think in terms of maintenance cost a lot. If you have to like batch meet, it's really why the maintenance is high. Simple reason is this layer will be used only once in case of batching the day. In case of real time, this layer, this road, this road will be used 20,000 times. If a road is used 20,000 times, means more maintenance. Simple. It's as simple as that. This is the best that we can think about batch of real time. So we'll come to a question and answer session. Okay. Let's say your business is like this, that orders should be uh, okay. Let me come to one more very important thing. Then we'll go to the question answer session. There's a thing called as near real time. So what these companies do, they become very smart. For example, in the case of this overnight shipping, these companies are very smart. They say, okay, instead of sending 20,000, instead of using the road 20,000 times, why don't we use it less number of times? Say what, instead of send, but so basically they want to have a kind of a batch interface. But if you send a batch every once in a day, there will be a problem. They say, okay, why don't we send a batch 50 times in a day? But it is 50 times, not 20,000 times. And still the functionality can be fulfilled. So what they do is they gather the data, they collect the data, every 50 gather data for 15 minutes and send it, then again gather the data for 15 minutes and send it. So it's just, and they send it in a 15-minute interval. So if you calculate 4 times in an hour, and there are approximately 12 hours in the business, well, we can calculate all this, how many times they need to run. Probably 24 into 4 they need to run, so they would run it probably like 24 into 96 times. They can reduce it also, half an hour is also fine. But if somebody submits an order at 3:30, then again he will not receive it, because order has to go out at before 4 for it to reach anywhere in the United States next day by 10. So they cannot do that. So if you see, look at the websites, they'll say if you send the order by 2 o'clock, then only we will do it. Actually, that is actually the behind the scenes, the systems are talking on a near real time basis. That is the reason they have this kind of issue. 1 hour for the guy to look at the system and push the order, but 1 hour for it to travel from the order submission system to order fulfillment system. So near real-time batch basically really means they will execute a batch every 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour. So these are like called as near real-time batches. They're a little bit harder than the nightly batches, nightly batch interfaces, but they're still there. You see, I called it batches, interface, batch integration, real-time integration, in a real-time manner, in a batch manner. I call in various ways. Please, when you listen to this topic again, please try to pay heed to this, my choice of terms and all, words and all. So with this, we come to a simple class. Okay, simple question answer session. My first question to you is, like in case of Dell laptop, what do you think? They should have a real time, near real time, or a batch for every kind of system, for every kind of order, or you want to break
No,
it?
for the I'm talking about the personal or the small business I'm talking about, because I've never been to
Okay, so let's talk about just personal only. Okay, but there are different types of orders: overnight orders, grounds, shipping by ground,
next day,
next day,
shipping
2 day
usually
shipping,
2 days
and
delivery.
then they have
All will be different.
all will be different.
All
So
will be different.
basically, Dell, what they do is they probably have a nightly batch for the ground shipping.
Okay.
They have probably a new real-time batch for the overnight shipping. They could be having they could be having a nightly batch for the 2 day shipping as well. Okay. Now, just to let all this, after having all this discussion, now we are getting clear about the idea. After having all this discussion, I just realized that Dell is such a stupid company. They say next day, but they never ship next day. Next day after we compose your laptop. It's such a stupid company. It's making just making fooling us. by saying next day. Never, it never comes next day. They say 3 days of assembly time, right? But anyway, but coming back to the point, so we are able to understand. Give me an example where an interface will be required between two systems, and it has to be real time and only real time. Sure. Um, Nirju is saying that in a Burger King, for example, in a McDonald's, when they are going through a driveway, you place an order with someone, and then immediately they enter they punch. Actually, in Pizza Hut it happens a lot. They punch the order in the system, and immediately it has to go in the kitchen so that he can start working on the pizza. So that order is real time, right? I like that idea. That has to be real time. I would like to hear more examples of interfaces as well as whether they're batch, whether they should be real time or near real time. I would like to hear more examples like this. Yeah. Domino's has this policy that if a customer orders a pizza online, then it has to be delivered by them within 30 minutes, which makes me say that they must be having a real time system. And 1 minute new real time system does not make much sense actually, because it's very hard to maintain that kind of system. So it's better to have a real time kind of system. Actually thinking, oh yeah, actually they should be having a near real time system. I'm thinking that's a good example. So that is basically you're talking about the order submission and order fulfillment process. I would like you to think outside orders also, and think in terms of entering customer information or entering opportunities or entering leads, any kind of. And I'm looking for the ideas for batch interfaces as well. I hear a very good idea. Let's say someone loses his credit card and he calls the credit card company and they tell them, you know what, I lost my credit card, and they need to stop the credit card right away. You can virtually block the credit card right away. So in that case, they would need to do some kind of real time. My question is, what are the two systems, and what will be the interface? What was the message in the interface? I just had the chance to hear a very good example in which how kind of what you call it, shipping company like USPS or Indian Post Office works. They get the orders, okay. I would come back to this kind of examples again. These are kind of this real time and batch is not just an IT concept. So let's cover that here. It's not just an IT concept. Actually, it is quite ubiquitous. This concept is everywhere. For example, when you're talking on the phone, is it a real time communication or this is a batch? It's a real time communication. If you say hello, they will hear it immediately. Voicemail, leaving a voicemail, or emails, chatting through emails. Is it a real time communication or is it a batch email?
That will be a real time.
Actually, email is batch because it gets accumulated. You don't see the email immediately. Maybe you send it immediately, but then the person doesn't receive it immediately. So he goes there.
Time.
Yeah, it's just from a different aspects. It can even be a real time from a different aspect. I know what you're getting to, but again, from just a very rudimentary standpoint, it looks batch. Similarly, fax, sending a fax. Is
that is a batch, because they're gonna collect the data and then gonna connect the line on the other side. Then we're gonna send the order or whatever it is.
Both are right. The older fax machines, they were real time. Unless until they get the connection to the other system, they will not be able to send. Those are the older days. Nowadays, new fax machine, they store this thing and they keep sending. They keep sending, and until they are able to send. So that means, and in the meantime, you can send more jobs, and they will also be queued. So there is a huge queue of faxes which need to be sent out and they get sent.
The same as a printer. If you keep giving them a job, it will be stored in a system.
In a queue, yeah, in a queue, and then yes, that's a batch.
That's
a batch. That's a batch actually. Yeah, and yeah, that's right. That's batch. Yeah. So in case of the credit card, the two systems will be. I'm just taking the discussion from a few minutes back. One is the bank system. So let's say you have Bank of America card, so you'll be calling Bank of America. So one is bank system. Second is the system of Visa. So Visa blocks it. So Bank of America has to notify Visa. So Bank of America person will be using a system. He'll click something in the GUI sitting here. He'll click something in the GUI. That message will go all the way like this and go to Visa. So in that case, systems will not be within one company; they'll be actually across companies. But that's also a perfect example of real time or batch interface. So it's gonna be, it needs to be real time. So let's think about it again. Do you think it can be near real time after 5 minutes? It can execute. It can probably be a 5 minute or 10 minute near real time interface. What do you think about it? I like this discussion. I like your idea. So the idea that he threw is like, this is what I really want you to hear. Your ability to tie what you need in the system to the business need, and business policy, and government regulations. So as he said, it has to be real time because customers' liability ceases to it's customer liability ceases right after it calls, and that's very instant, and that's a government regulation. If he notifies a credit card company, he cannot be held liable for the charges on the credit card that are made after that. So, so if bank doesn't want to lose the money, they need to make sure that they send it out in a real-time manner immediately. If they don't, then they will be charged, or they will be responsible for the charges that occur between the call was made and the next batch of the data. So they'll be responsible for all that. So they don't do that. Now my question to you is, let's say, so this is getting very interesting. Let me just bring one more point in. What if the bank just analyzes why, who's gonna use the card right after he calls? I don't know where you are. Yeah, I want to hear all this. This is what like your ability to understand the business and tying it to the system is what we are really talking about here. And so one of the important point that one of the candidates has brought in is, what he said is like, um, um, see, there's a concept called as insurance of the bank. So bank is insured against fraudulent credit card usage of a customer whose credit card is lost. So what they do is they're supposed to be taken seriously, but the insurance requirements are that they will insure it for maybe like just for 1 hour. Now, if after the call is made and bank is not able to block the card for up to 1 hour, then they will pay for it. Then they'll be okay with it. They'll still pay for the credit card, fraudulent credit card. So for fraudulent use of the credit card. Um, so this particular bank, which would have bought the insurance, might go for using a new real-time batch of 45 minutes or 55 minutes or 30 minutes, because of the fact that they understand that they're insured against any fraudulent use of the credit cards. So they would bring a lot of money anyway. So there would be a trade-off, whether we should buy insurance or whether we should develop a system which is real-time. So this is good. This is what I want to hear. This your ability to think in terms of business, their needs, and understand the business would help you a lot in designing a good system. Good means a good system in terms of quality and all is not what I really mean in terms of cost-effective system. Like there's a cost for each and every feature that you make, and you analyze all these things, and they come to a conclusion that, hey, you know what, you can do away with the real-time system. You can just use a batch. Okay. um, there are some other ideas that I have and I would like to share with you. One is like, let's say, there's like, if you go to Yahoo website, I cannot go to the Yahoo website, but if you go to a Yahoo website, you can basically uh, uh, credit card payment is one system which probably has to be real time, right? But there are certain companies which don't do it in a real time. It should be real time. So other thing is credit card verification. At least that has to be real time. When you go to a website, let's say you go to Dell.com and you place your credit card, they may not charge it in a real time manner, but they have to check whether you entered that real good credit card or not, whether the expiration date, credit card number, and the name and the billing address are matching or not. This check can be done only in a real time manner, right? If this check is not done in a real time manner, what will happen? What is so wrong here? Let's say company decides not to do a real time, not to implement a real time interface here. What will happen? Yeah. The card might be a blocked card. The credit card number might be an old card. Expiration date may not be correct. It could be like a stolen card,
Fake also.
fake card also. So all these things can occur more often if you don't, if the company where the order is placed, like here in this case, does not talk to the Visa company or the Mastercard company and get the credit card check immediately, but they will not fulfill the order. I mean, so my answer is they can opt not to fulfill the order. So what do you think now? Right? If they find out after 15 minutes that the credit card was bad, then they may not, they might just say, okay, they don't need to fulfill the order in that case. The commodity is still with them. So they really can shield themselves from fraudulent usage and dummy usage and all that. So question comes back. As you guys know, according to me, I'm quite convinced that it probably should not be real time. But as you all know, it is a real time interface most of the time. So I want to hear your ideas why it should be real time. This ensures the quality of the orders. And if they, I like this idea. This idea has been given by Mr. Shah here. He's saying that um, this ensures the quality of the order, and let's say you get 100 orders, you obviously want to make sure that all the 100 orders that you get are qualified properly. So it shouldn't happen that out of 100 orders actually 80 routinely 20 hours are fake. You don't want to be in that situation. So the companies would typically want to check the real time, the credit card details in a real time manner. So I come back and think, could there be any other reason? um, let's say my idea. I actually want to just introduce you to one more word. There is another thing, like customer, the good customer. The good customer is using credit card. He want to have a peace of mind, that my order has gone through. Company wants to give him a confirmation. Hey, you know what? We have
They approve you.
we have validated your order. Everything is okay, and you will get your stuff. Often it might also happen if out of 100 orders, companies used to scrutinizing 100 orders, and and then what you call it, decline 20, and accept only 80. One day one good customer's order might also get declined. It can happen. So in all these cases, or there are other things also. There's one very important reason. I think a very important reason. Let's say a person has just by mistake entered expiration date. He will come to know only after 20 minutes that he did something wrong. There is one company which does that. Skype. If you buy something from this company, Skype, they tell you after 20 minutes that your credit card was declined, and I'm damn pissed off. Right? I don't like that part. So, um, um, it basically helps in kind of disciplining your customers also. That's what really the idea is. But coming back, and I would like to stress on my point a little bit more. One of the important ideas is if customer has made some small mistake, you want to be able to check it and tell him immediately, what you made this small mistake, that you entered expiration date wrongly, or your zip code was not matching with this thing, so that he can correct it. This functionality cannot be provided if you don't make a real-time check. So credit card payment is one example, and there is another area, checking of availability of products. Right? We call it check availability. So check availability functionality, check product availability functionality can be provided only in only with a real time kind of situation. So you have to promise him, hey, you know what, I'm going to deliver this laptop to you. So if you don't check your inventory right away and tell him, then you're going to be in a very stupid situation. He will place an order, and then you will realize later on that the product is not available. So, for example, in case of Yahoo, they don't charge you, but they do give you user IDs. So if you enter a user ID, and then they say, okay, we have created this user ID for you, and then later on tell you, you know what, that user ID was taken, right? You don't want to be in that situation. So that's a very good example of check availability of product. It has to be in a real time manner, right? These guys are very intelligent. In case of Yahoo, or in case of Google, they have to check the availability of a certain ID right away, because they have to promise something immediately. They have to actually deliver also. But these guys like Dell and all, what they do is they build these kind of interfaces in a near real-time manner, and they promise, keeping in mind that last time. So what happens is they compose a batch like this. Every 15 minutes, we'll go to the inventory and check how many orders are there, how many laptops are there. Let's say 1,000 are there. So they know that if the number of orders is less than this much, they can keep promising. Right? They can promise without even looking at the inventory right away. So what they realize is, if like they'll say maybe 20% of the buffer, so 800 orders are given in every 30 minutes. Okay, so what they do is, so they will design a batch of maybe 20 minutes. So within 20 minutes, if an order comes for something which was 1,000 the last time when they checked, they'll simply place it again without even checking the inventory. So this is a classic example of a business analyst doing a huge amount of work in understanding the business and coming out with a very optimized solution for a company. he's not suggesting a real-time interface right away. He's actually going through all the scenarios and then coming up with a very optimized solution, a very cost-effective solution for the company. And you can basically, on the basis of statistical data and all those things, anybody can even come out with us um, with a probability of one day promising something that company may not be having. Then business analysts will be able to prove also that this is quite wise. So the whole point is this is business analysis all the way. And but you're understanding. So again, I'm making my point again. You need to understand IT to an extent that you can use it as a part of the equation, but you don't need to really be a developer. But it should be a part of your one of the variables in the equation. Obviously, systems have to do all these things, whatever business ideas you come up with. So you see the whole thing that we did, like the business and the system. This is analytical in nature. No, I'll give you some basic facts and figures about IT. It takes you just 3 or 4 days to understand some basic ideas about IT. After that, it should be part of your thought process, like it is in case of Mr. Shah, and like it is in your case also. I'm quite impressed with your abilities. Okay, I want to hear more ideas about real-time and batch interfaces. In case of service requests, there are many ideas actually. One of the things is, like, for example, when you call these guys, actually one of the good things I liked about you guys is you guys thought in terms of systems which are in different companies. Reason of the fact the reason is that you guys probably not attuned to the fact that within a company how there could be 1,000 systems. So really, once you understand there are 1,000 systems within one company, then you'll understand. For example, in a company there would be a CRM, okay, to maintain customers database, like customer relation management, customer database, contact database, and the orders and the assets. Assets means the parts that they bought. So all this information will be in one system. Now there could be other systems like billing system, but the billing system will be always different. It's a very complex system actually. How the bill is calculated and all that, the rules and all those things are very complex in nature for calculation of billing, especially in case of like telecom companies, in case of banks, in case of many such companies which send you bill, basically utility companies and all those things. For example, utility company billing. Like for example, let's talk about the T-Mobile. Okay, their billing system is basically gonna be also tied to another system. I'm just you don't need to see another third system right here somewhere, like right close to the fulfillment system. Actually, their bill is calculated by the switch. How much usage did they have in the switch? That switch is basically a telecom, like it's a hard machine, and it's not really client server kind of a machine. So what they do is it sends the usage of each and every account to a certain system, to billing system, right? How many minutes it used, I don't know what times, right? And what calls were made. Your asset system, which is your CRM, has the information that you have free nights after 9 o'clock. You have, so then billing system calculates all this. So this call was made after 9, so 0. This call was made before 7, so 0. This call was made at 12 o'clock, so this much, right? And I remember in India there were certain times, the rules of billing were like between 3 to 6 the billing will be different. Like ISD used to be like this: 9 to 11 the ISD rate will be different, 7 to 9 STD rate will be different, so on and so forth. And 9 to 5 the rate was different. The point is, in those cases it was calculated, like, see, all these rules have to be fed into that billing system. Billing systems are very complex systems actually. So we'll not get into that, because anyway you don't want to work in billing. So you're only working in asset system. So these this let's say that the customer calls and says, there's an issue in the bill. And you say, what is the issue? Say, okay, you know what, I didn't make this call, and let's say policy, if customer makes such a comment, just fucking get rid of that. Or maybe you're in a bank and customer call and says, you know what, this charge is please waive off this $29 charge because I didn't pay my payment on time or something. So they need to they will click a button in the CRM system itself. They're not going to go to billing system. This is a very interesting aspect of customer service. They don't leave their application. They should be working in 1 or 2 applications at most. They should not be working on. So within that CRM, in service request system, you have to provide them a facility where they can adjust the bill by certain amount. So they click somewhere and this, so they should it should adjust the bills over there. It should in the billing system, and the customer should get a notification also from billing system. Should send a message to some other system which is a notification sending system, just for sending out the notifications. and that notification system will get a message. It will send out the notification that, hey, you know what, $29 charge has been removed, don't worry. And then there is a billing system which calculates billing. Then there are bill sending systems. You see, there are system which prints out bills. So it gets a simple, like a printer, just get a simple, like a file which it has to print. You put it in a mail, put the stamp on it, put this thing on it, and send it out. It's not done automatically. Address is not written by a human, it's written by the system. And that was envelope and everything is folded by a system, and then it basically sends. So that is a bill sending system or a mail sending system. So all these things are interrelated. So the messages between these systems are also exchanged through an interface, either real time or batch. You need to be aware of what it should be. Then there are commission, like these whatever sales are made in CO and CRM have to be um, sent to the salary calculation system. Okay, there should be a salary calculation system. Now salary has multiple components. One is a fixed component, and others are commission component. Then there is an input file into it. What was the person? What was the deal given to him in the beginning? Right? Person sells 5% of CG machines or IPR machines. Then one person might have been promised 7% of the commission. Other person might have been promised 3%. So that also has to be taken into account. What he sold, how many he sold, what is his base salary, all has to be taken into consideration. And then salary has to be calculated. Then salary calculation has to go through something called as tax calculation step. So within this system, as you can see, would be very complex too. So the next step would be to calculate his taxes. Now tax calculation itself is a huge amount. You have to calculate his federal tax, state tax, this tax, that tax. His W2 also has to be taken into account, how many deductions, and then you would need a calculation. This is one of his net salary. Then there will be another system for uh, maybe salary actual check writing system, which will actually print the check. That system has to get the notification from this system. What was the salary? And it has the note this salary calculation system also has to tell exactly the tax amount and all those things. The printing system will simply do the printing, right? So all these systems, they're like, I'm just talking about a few systems, and there is a lot of message exchange between these few systems, and all these messages can be designed, will be designed by you guys. Yeah, that's your basically strong point. So if you ask me, easiest projects are